bid to stream twice a day, every day for a month, and just do some learning in Minecraft, some playing in Minecraft. Yeah, just gonna do some cool stuff. Today, we're going to be exploring farming in Minecraft. Hey Luminous, thanks for coming in on Twitter. We are going to be exploring farming. We're going to be looking at what farming is, food types, food sources. We're going to be looking at some lessons and some ways in which we can adopt food to think about perhaps some maths or some historical aspects, geographical aspects, and so on. And farming is a mechanic of Minecraft. And so we've already done a stream on mechanics, but we didn't really cover nearly enough of them. And so let's explore what farming is going to look like. So we're using Minecraft Education Edition. Always just a reminder, you can do any of what I'm about to do in this stream, apart from perhaps the coding, because we will do a little coding, I believe. But apart from the coding, we can do in any version of Minecraft. But in this case, we're using Minecraft Education Edition, which is free if you have a Office 365 Edu account. So any schools, museums, art galleries, libraries that have access to Office 365 EDU, you automatically have it. If you have students who have an Office 365 EDU account and are at home right now because of the coronavirus, they can sign in to Education Edition. You download this version of the game at education.minecraft.net. Raja, yes, Raja on Facebook, great to see you, my friend. I hope everyone, all of your loved ones, and you are keeping safe and well over there in Pakistan. Now, let me have a look. Let's click play. And keep doing what you do, Raja. I see wonderful, wonderful things on Facebook. You're doing great things around the world. So let's go into a new world and let's just build. I always start with a new world just to keep everybody learning. You know, to get into the habit of, if you're going to create a new world, we're going to test this. So we're just going to call this farming. We're going to make that a creative because, hey, I'm going to be in creative mode and I don't want to have to go into survival mode. That said, farming serves the biggest purpose for survival mode. I mean, the whole point of farming is to grow food, and the whole point of food is to eat it so you don't starve, and you only starve in survival mode. But for the moment, we're keeping the mindset that we're teachers, we're educators, we're parents, we're creating experiences for our children who may then in turn be playing in survival mode. We're going to make it peaceful because I don't want any monsters in this world. This doesn't matter because nobody's going to be joining us on this particular stream. We're going to go infinite because I want to explore the world a little and kind of find out what's in there, maybe find a farm that already exists. Yes, great. And hopefully, Raja, the virus passes us all quicker. And we're all able to get back to not normal. I'm a big advocate of us not going back to normal. That's extremely important. But we all get back to some semblance of, certainly not lockdown. We can all get back out. We can all start thinking about education systems and getting back to our lives again, our shared collective social lives again, inshallah, right? I hope that's the case very soon. So I'm going to show coordinates because that's always great practice, and I am going to not pop code. Well, actually, no. Let's keep code builder on because that's really. I'm going to use that. I think always day, show classroom settings, perfect weather, and the rest can remain. That's generally how I start all of the worlds, and we'll press play. Okay, let's have a little exploration of the world that I'm in. If you have started and you're joining me and you're kind of having a little look around in your own version of Education Edition, you might find that the controls are still on the left-hand side of the screen, forwards, back, left, right, etc. If you don't want that there, you press Escape, Settings, go to Keyboard and Mouse, and then Hide Keyboard and Mouse Hints. That's this button here. And when we go back in, of course, the controls are gone because we've asked them to be hidden. Otherwise, they're there by default. And then let's look around. We started on a small coast. Looks like a nice coast, this. But we want to look at and see if there's anywhere we can find some, maybe a village. that already has some farming in it. Villages appear randomly, and we've had a few villages in some of the other worlds that we've done this month so far. But for the moment, typical, the time I'm looking for a farm, I won't be able to find one. We're going on a village hunt. Nope, I can't see one anywhere nearby, and that is a shame, because they often have their own farming systems built in. Let's just head over here, and I think I'll settle down somewhere in the plains here between the taiga, and here's 3 separate biomes. We were talking about biomes previously. In fact, 4. This is a good view to see all the different biomes that we did on another thing. So we've got a plains biome with the bright grass. We've got a taiga biome with the different tree types, the brown and the darker green. Over here we have the mountain biomes where you can see the snow and just sort of columns of stone. We have a desert biome, and then we have an ocean biome as well. And so this is actually really, this is a really good example of where biomes meet. There's even some ice over there. Interesting little pocket. Okay, so let's have a look at, let's build our little base down. Still can't see a village. Oh, there's a village. Yay! Patience. You see? Patience. Oh, there's an ice biome over there. You see that? It's like the Arctic in the distance. We're not gonna be able to farm in there. So here we are. So if we head down, villages form naturally in Minecraft, and what we are looking for in here is they actually form with farms built in. And so we're looking at farm here, and we're going to just start off by looking at how the game automatically creates farms. Let me just read this question by Raja. Is there any guide regarding how Minecraft could assist teachers teaching different subjects, i.e. English, Math, Science, and Enhanced Learning students subject specific? Inside Minecraft there are worlds. In Minecraft Education Edition, if you press escape, Raja, let me just exit this world and very quickly answer your question. Guides are difficult. That's why I'm doing these live streams, and all of my live streams, Raja, you can catch up on them all at youtube.com/c/immersive minds. But if I go to here and go to new world, no, sorry, that was not true. That's not true. Go back to the beginning. Go to play, view library, and then go to lessons. You'll see that we have computer science, maths, science, art, history and culture, language arts. And you can see what's in there. Alternatively, just follow my streams. I've done a stream on maths. I've done a stream on literacy. We've still to do a stream on science. We've done a stream on biomes, mobs. We've done all sorts. So check out my stream twice a day, every day for a month, and I will take you through as much as I possibly can. Today, however, we're looking at farming, and we're going to look at the science of farming. We're going to look at the mathematics of farming, and the engineering of farming, and so on. And so what they've done is they've kind of encased their farms in these sort of raised beds, and then we have a variety of different materials. So let me just find out what they are. First of all, we have, why is my middle mouse button not working? None of my mouse buttons are working. Dun dun dun. So why on earth is that? None of my mouse buttons are working. So let's go into settings and check. Keyboard and mouse. Who knows? Oh look, numpad. This is all changed for my keyboard and mouse. I have no idea why that happens. So, and actually I talked about this in game settings. Should anything go wrong with your settings, press default settings and then go back out. There we are. We got our keys back. I have no idea why that would have happened. Anyway, there we go. And so we've got oak logs to hold them in. We don't necessarily need that for a farm, but it's quite a nice idea. Oh, here's the little farmer managing the crops. We've also got some dirt. We have some potatoes, or in this case, seeds for potatoes. Those are fully grown. These are not. And then we've got some water as well, which I'll go get. Now, potatoes aren't the only thing you can grow. And then we've also got a composter. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, and a villager. There we go, spawn a villager. And so in order for a farm, now you don't need the villager, but it's quite, as you can see, the villagers are doing their thing. They're off collecting stuff. And if I right click on this villager, what happens? Nothing. He's just wandering about doing his thing. Taking care of the composter as well. And so what we can do is we can build our own little farm. So let's imagine that we've claimed this house. This one looks nicer. This is our house. I'm going to claim this. And as a result, just, there we go. I'm just going to create a little territorial barrier that says, ladies and gentlemen of this village, I have moved in. And then let's just take it up to there. So this is my little territory. Let's have a look in here. Let's put a bed in here. Oh, there's already a bed in here. I don't like that colour. Let's put in a yellow bed. There we go. I like that. I'm happy with that. Yeah? Okay. Our house in the middle of our street. Okay, so what we're now going to do, fix the path. Now here's something worth noting. In order for you to create this pathway, you'll notice when I stand here, you'll see that there's a slight lip. This pathway is lower than the grass next to it. You see that? There's a little lip along there because it's lower. Now there's two ways you can create that. The first way to create it, oops, that's because I went into yellow, is to take a shovel. And if you take a shovel of any kind and we right click on a piece of grass, and it only works on grass, you'll see that you can create this path effect. Hey little cat, if room 117 is with us, we've adopted a cat. I don't know if two cats. If room 117 is with us this morning, she's a cat fan. It doesn't work on dirt, and it certainly doesn't work on things like cobblestone, but it does work on grass. And we can make paths. The second way to do that is if you're using a mouse, look at the block and then middle mouse button. What would normally be your wheel, you can click as a button. And what that does is it puts it in your inventory as a solid block. You'll see there it's called a grass path. And what we can now do is remove the grass and replace it with a path. So there's two ways of doing that. Technically the shovel's the easiest way of doing it, but if you want to build specifically, instead of saying, right, I need to add grass here now. So instead of going, right, I'm going to add grass there, then go to the shovel and make them, you can just say, actually, I want to take those and do it manually like that. So it really depends what you're trying to do. But what I want to do is turn this into a little farm over here. Now, going back to our farm principles, and we're going to try different crops and show you how this works. I'm just going to replace all of these. You don't need, and we'll get rid of that. I don't need a lamp there, not yet. You don't need the wooden raised thing that they did before. That's not in their own gardens down there. You don't need this. So we're just going to plant straight onto the ground. Now here's the thing. We're going to go in here and we're going to go and look at farming. This fourth one along is all the natural things in here. Natural materials, things like corals and grasses and dirts and stones. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go over to seeds. We can also go down to crops, but for the moment I want to go to seeds. And when I open up seeds, you'll see that it stretches to become seeds, pumpkin seeds, melon seeds, beetroot seeds. So I'm going to take one of each. Let's just into slot 1, into slot 2, into slot 3, and into slot 4. So now I have seeds, pumpkin seeds, melon seeds, beetroot seeds. Okay. Hi Mona, how are you? It's wonderful, wonderful to see you in our stream. Thank you so much for joining. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and plant those seeds right here. I think, oh, I'll plant them. But when I right click, nothing happens. We're not able to plant the seeds. We can't plant them on the grass, and we couldn't even plant them in, let's just go and get ourselves some dirt. We couldn't even plant them in dirt. And the reason for that is because we haven't tilled the ground yet. Tilling the ground is really important. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get myself a tool. That tool happens to be a hoe. Wooden hoe, stone hoe, iron hoe, golden hoe, diamond hoe. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the wooden one. It's basic, but it works, especially in creative mode. It doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to go and use that to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just right clicking on the ground now. And you'll see that like the path, it's lowered it by a slight amount and it's given it this kind of trough look. It's almost like got these little dark troughs for farming. If you leave that long enough, it will eventually go back. It will eventually become dirt and then grass. And actually, if I just wait for a moment while I do another one, we'll see that happen. So let's make that, there we go. So one of them's already turned back and very soon that will become grass. This one's happened a lot quicker. And so you have to be quite quick about doing this. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just right clicking with seeds. And so with seeds, that is wheat. And we'll see what grows in a second. Then I'm going to get this and I'm going to do pumpkins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then with my next row, I'm going to do melons. And then with my next one, I'm going to do beetroot. Oops. Here we are. And so that gives me 4 different types of crops. And I'm just going to label those so we can remember what they are. So let's get a slate. And I'm just going to put here, actually let's put it at the end. You can walk on your crops. What you can't do, however, is jump on your crops. If you jump on your crops, you destroy them. So don't do that. So let's go back and just plant seeds. Seeds. All right. Okay. And then we can go over to slates and we can just put this on here and we're going to say that this is wheat. This is pumpkin. Melon. Beetroot. And now there's a number of ways of growing your crops. They will grow in time. So over time, they will just grow naturally. There's one critical component that's missing, and that is water. And so it's advisable that you add some water. So to do this, I'm just going to make that water. And it doesn't have to be running beside them all. It just has to be near them. So I'm just going to do that. And you'll see there that this has gone darker. And that's because slowly, over time, the crops should become irrigated. There's another one. So that one's become irrigated. And the irrigated ones will grow faster. But you can also put some food on them. So the two components for plants growing, there's another one. The 2 components for plants growing are, and actually you can see already that that seed is taller than these ones. It's a different shape, it's a different size, it's automatically taller because it's growing faster. And over time it will grow. It does take a while though, and so we don't have that amount of time on the stream, so I'm going to show you how to speed that up. The 2 conditions are water and food. And food comes in the form of bone meal. Or fertilizer, which actually isn't something you can find. That's interesting. I thought you could. Fertilizer can be made using the chemistry update, which I'm going to do a whole stream on, and we'll come back to farming during the chemistry update stream, and we'll look at how fertilizer can be used, because we're not doing chemistry today, although technically we are. But we are going to use bone meal. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right click and you'll see that some green sparkles appear, and as they disappear, that plant is now larger. I'm going to feed this one as well. There we are, that's complete. We now have complete, and then we can click on that as many times as we like now, it's finished. But this one wasn't. This one has now gone to second stage. And if we push it again, it goes to third stage. It's now larger and yellow. And then we can't get, with pumpkins and with melons, we can't get a fourth stage. We have to let it grow itself. And actually, these ones aren't going to work, and I'll show you why in a moment. But with beetroot, we only get one as well. So wheat, we only need one. Beetroot, we only need one. These guys, we need 4. Okay. And so we could do that with them all. Just going to feed them all up. There we are. Now I'm going to do that one, and that one. Then I'm going to do that one, and that one. Oh, yep, that one. There we are. Okay, so now we have full crops of, now if you were in survival mode, you'd have to grow that, of course, or find and make bone meal. But with creative mode, we can just do that ourselves. So we got wheat, we have pumpkins, we have melons, and we have beetroot. These haven't fully grown yet. They only do that naturally. We can't force them to grow to the final fruit or the final vegetable. And so, there we go, cat. Cat's hiding somewhere. Is room 117 in with us this morning? She's missing all these cats. And so, what we now can do is, if you want that to go faster, let me just do this again. I'm gonna crop these in a second. So what were those ones? Those were beetroots. And these were wheat. These were pumpkins. And these were melons. So let's take pumpkin seeds. So we're going to start again. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go into Escape, Settings, and we're going to go all the way down to the bottom, and we're going to make this 1000. This random tick speed 1000. And when we press Escape, you'll see that our crops are going to grow naturally, and then suddenly the fruit, or the fruits of these crops, are going to pop. There we go. Whoops. And boom, eventually. And so now what we've got is, you see how quickly that happens. So we can speed things up. We can say we're going to just go and speed up time. It's really just a time thing. 1000 is faster than 1. And so the problem is, the reason we didn't, this one and this one didn't grow, of the pumpkins and melons, is because they don't grow on the space. Unlike wheat, they don't grow on the space that they're growing. They grow beside the space. Baramok had a question, did he? Oh yeah. Is it higher? Yes, it is higher. I tend to find that 2000 is the max I will go, and that's like makes trees grow instantly and stuff like that. It's cheating, but as in, if you were playing a game, a survival mode game, and you had to, there was a reason why you had to wait for the crops. Of course, that's not a technique that you would adopt. But if for teachers like us who are trying to create experiences and worlds that our children can immediately dive into, and we've got 40 minutes to make it happen, it fits, right? And so, excuse me.
I couldn't find that in your music.
That's, yeah, couldn't find a cough in my music. Thanks, Siri. And so what we are, what we're looking at is the melons and the pumpkins have shifted to the side. And so you have to take that into account when you're growing them. But this is a small farm. What we now need to do is, I'm going to switch to game mode 0. That's / game mode 0. And you'll see now that I have hearts. Hey, little guy. Oh, he's away. I have little hearts because I'm in survival mode. And now what I can do is, I don't need a hole to do it, but I tend to do it anyway. I can left click and I get, let me just / clear actually. Here we go. And and I've now grown a beetroot. I don't have seeds anymore. I have 3 beetroot. I have, oh, one went in there. Let's get that. So now I have a total of 8 beetroot for my 5. So there's some mathematics already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plots. I got 5 seeds back, because of course you do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you see how quick they're growing because time's back up. But I ended up with 8 beetroot. So let's do that again. Let's see if we can, and I'm just going to store the 8 beetroot in here. And we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many beetroot did we get this time? Oops, that's me pressing C. I shouldn't do that. / remove. C. There we go. And go back into my inventory. 14. So actually we only got 6 that time, right? So is that 8? Yeah, we only got 6 that time with my fingers. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And so, oh, hey, big guy. That's a golem. They look after villagers and villages, and they're great. They're docile until you attack them. So just let him wander around, let him do his thing. They're very, very difficult to beat. They look after villages. I like them. In one of our Viking worlds, we turned them into trolls, and they have mushrooms growing out of their shoulders and stuff. It's very cool. I'll show you that someday. We're going to do a Viking stream all about learning about Vikings specifically, and an Egyptian stream and so on. And so we only got 6 this time. Why did we get pumpkin seeds? That was interesting. How on earth did we get pumpkin seeds? Let's see if that happens again. Let's see how many we get this time. Maybe they were lying around from the last time when I destroyed them. That's probably what it was. Oh, we got 22 this time. So what did that give us? That's 14, 6. So that was another 8. So we're starting to get an idea of just how, and now I've got a sheep in my farm, just how plants can be used and crops can be used to think about numbering systems and so on. And we started off by getting 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we're actually in profit of seeds now. So what if we were selling those seeds at a market? We're now well in profit. In fact, if I plant my crop for this year, I now have 9 seeds that I can sell. If we were selling those for an emerald a time, suddenly we're in profit. So we can create small economies, and we've done this with kids in the past. We've set up economies in villages where the farmer has marketable food and seeds for kids to grow their own, and someone else makes anvils and they sell anvils, and someone else makes maps, and someone else makes leads, and then the kids create this marketplace within the village. And to do that, they actually just, let me go back to creative mode. I'll come back to farming in a second, but I love this. This is one of my favorite lessons with kids actually, is we just get ourselves some stairs, and then I'm going to get myself some fence. Whoops. And right, become a millionaire. You're always in profit when it comes to Minecraft crops. And then we're going to get ourselves some wool, and we're going to maybe make some yellow and some white wool. And then what we do is we just, outside our little house, we set up I'm just making those stairs upside down. In fact, we'll do that one there, and then we'll do there. And then what we'll do is we'll have a fence there, and then we'll have here we go, and then here we go. So there's our little market stall. And inside our market stall, we're going to get ourselves a chest. Whoops. And we're going to place the chest there. And inside the chest, we're going to put, and then we'll get ourselves a sign, which is let's do a slate. And then we're going to put in there, and you can have honesty boxes and see if the kids stick to it or whatever, but up here we're going to put a little sign that says beetroot seeds 1 emerald. Or you can have a trading system. Beetroot seeds, 1 lead or 1 anvil, or 1 sword. It's probably not worth it, but the kids can work out their bartering systems, Mad Max style. Who runs Barter Town? And so we can set up a little market space and sell those seeds. And I put the seeds in there, didn't I? Yeah. So the kids can do that. Yeah. And so the farming aspect is fantastic. But here's the thing. Think about this for a second. What if we were to do something where we start with a population of the village? So let's have a look. We know that our village so far has one. Actually, I'm just going to make this. I'm going to go back to villager. Just get a villager. And I'm going to say that we have a population of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 people in the village. 11, 12, 13. 14, there's one in the distance there. So we give ourselves a set population. We don't have to use a set village. We can design our own. And that could reflect the people of the class. So what if we had a class of 10 students or a class of 30 students? And then we needed to feed those. So we know that every day, if we're to follow nutrition rules, we need to have our 5 a day. So that's a beetroot, a melon, a pumpkin, some bread, because we're going to eventually, we can craft some bread with the wheat. And we haven't done wheat yet, actually, so let me do that. Let me do game mode 0. And what we had to do mathematically was work out how much land do we need mathematically to feed a village of 10 or 30 or a school, maybe your local school. And we know that it has a roll of 731 children. And so if they need their 5 a day in Minecraft, and we know that we get on average, let's do this again, let's do this one more time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that was 29, 6, so we've worked out an average. We got 6, then we got 8, then we got 8, then we got 6, then we got 6, then we got 8, so we've worked out that the average number of beetroot is 7, so we get 7 beetroot for the size of our farm. On average, per piece of land, we get 2. How much food are we going to need to feed this number of people? And then as teachers, you can throw in little things like, yeah, but we had a drought, and so 30% of our crop failed this year. Or our population grew because we became a commuter town for the local city, and so our population grew in this town by 22% in the last year. How do we cater for that in terms of land? And before you know it, you don't need a small backyard with crops. You need fields of crops. You're going to need to commandeer land. So you're going to need to flatten land. And again, we put a budget on that. So the kids go over here and they go, it's all right, I'll just fill this hole so I can have a flat land. And I say, well, you can, but that's going to cost you £5 every time. So that's just £20. What's that? There's 40, there's 50, there we go, it's 50, 60, it's 100. We're well over £100 now, we're into da-da-da-da-da. And all of a sudden, just to make this farm achievable, suddenly the kids are thinking about land management and how much it costs to turn land into farming land. Which of course we know is then an environmental issue. So let's take a step bigger and say, you know, the arable land in the Amazon comes from what used to be forestry, and now they're wiping out forestry so they can stick grazing cattle on it, or they can plant crops. And so what happens when we run out of land? And what about a country like the UK? Almost, what's that, 70 million people? Mostly agriculture. We're lucky, we live on quite a large island, small compared to the rest of the world. But how does all of that work? And suddenly you've got the kids thinking about these big concepts, purely because they said, I want to grow a farm, I want to make crops, I want to do wheat. Great, you can do wheat, but you need to be responsible for that. And then of course there's animal husbandry. So a lot of kids will do this, because we're talking about farming, so it's not all about crops. So lots of kids will say, I want to build a pasture for my cows. 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they do that. And then what they do is they stick a cow in it. Let's go get one. And they're like, there, that'll do. In fact, I'll put 2 cows in there. That'll do. That won't do. That's not achievable. What if we needed to work out, and we can use farming statistics for this, how much grass, because those cows will eventually, you'll see them at some point, they'll go along and they'll eat a piece of grass. Sheep certainly do. Somebody tell me in the chat if you know that. Thanks for the follow, Little Miss Nick UK. How much grass do the cows need to live on sustainably? So if we know that there's a rotation of grass, because grass grows every X, how you take the cow. Sorry, I walked up to the cow. I just walked up to any cow, and I'm just going to get rid of the egg so you can see what happens. Oh, that's not going to work. I'm going to have to get rid of that egg. And then what I did was, like any block, the middle mouse button, Karina, it's normally a rolling, scrolling button, but it acts as a button, and I can walk up to the cow and I can just middle button, and it automatically gives me a cow. I can also take grass, or I can take strip log or terracotta. I can take glass just by looking at it and pressing that middle mouse button. So we'll go back and get a cow. Thanks, cow. There we are. Now, and so the land matters. That's too small for 2 cows. That's cruelty. And it's not going to be that those cows will eventually starve. Now, they won't in Minecraft, but they will in my eyes as a teacher. So I'm like, actually, I want to know that the cows have a large piece of land. Free range chickens, for example. Do we put chickens in pens, or do we keep them free range? And if we keep them free range, how do we stop them from running away? So here's a little hint to stop your chickens from running away. Get yourself some seeds. Put them in your hand. And then go see some chickens. Let's see if we can find some. There's bound to be chickens around. I've got seeds in my... There's one. And if I land, the chicken will automatically come to me because I have seeds in my hand. Hey, little guy. But if I go back to beetroot, there's another one. They'll walk away. He's just there because he's now fascinated with me. But generally, they're not interested in being around you. But if I go to seeds, this one, and this one will all now come to me. And so your free-range chickens can be called. Cows respond to wheat, as do pigs. I can't remember what sheep respond to. But different animals respond to different things. So you'll notice that cows aren't interested until I get myself some wheat. Oops. And then there we are. Hey, little guys, they'll follow me everywhere. He's going to go crazy. There we go. He's going to follow me. And this little... See this? This is what the villagers have done here. They've automatically done it. That's not big enough. I'm not happy with that. And so for me, this is now really important that we start looking at animal husbandry practices. And even what about crops? What about looking at super farms? What about if we were to do crops that go up the way? Just like forestries. Now they now have these forest systems that go up the way. What if we were to do that? Is that cruel? Not for the crops, but certainly for cows it would be. Is it? They give them false daylight and false skies, so they think it's like they can see for miles, but they can't because it's just painted. I think stuff like that's weird. And so on. So we can do the statistics of that. Now, what we haven't showed you yet is planting other crops. So let's go in. Thanks, Raja. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Let's do something else. I'm just going to make my crops bigger. Oh, why is it? That's because I'm still got wheat in my hand. So cows are now badgering me. I'm just like, come on, feed me. There we go. So over here, I'm just going to do another thing. I'm going to go into here. I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to get myself some... What are we talking about? I'm going to go there. We're going to get ourselves some crops. And if we go into crops, you'll see that you have beetroot, which we've already got. But you also have potato, you have carrots, a golden carrot, an apple, and so on. Apples come from trees, so there's nothing you can do about that. Oh, we've got sweet berries. Let's see what that is. What else have we got? Cocoa beans. See if we can plant cocoa beans. I'm not entirely sure what to do with them. And we've got bamboo. It's not really a crop for eating, but let's see. We've got sugar. For getting sugar cane. Just trying to think of everything. Oh, we've got mushrooms as well. So let's explore all of the things that are edible. So with potatoes, there's nothing we can do until we get ourselves that tool that I spoke about before. So we're going to go and get ourselves a hole. And then I'll come back to mushrooms later, but for the moment, oh, that's because time is too fast. So in order for us to be able to plant successfully, we need to reset random tick speed. Keep that in mind. But if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we plant potatoes. And in fact, let's plant quite a few potatoes. Let's do, get out of it. Let's make this a potato patch. What we need are peas. Poddington peas is what we need. And there's our little potato patch. We're also going to do the same with carrots, except I'll do less. And the reason I'm doing more with potatoes is because I want to show you something that's quite nice about potatoes. And then we'll just speed up time. Settings. Random tick speed 1000. There they go, growing nice and fast. Get our carrots. Oh, berries can be grown anywhere, so let's just grow some berries there. There we are. That's nice, got some berries. So there's another nice little farm. And with that, we can go back to survival mode. Now I'm just going to get rid of my potatoes and my beetroot. I don't need them anymore, and we'll just stick to that just now. And then I'm going to reset the random tick speed. And then I'm going to go game mode 0. That's going to put me back. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to collect potatoes. Just collect these. And interestingly, none of them were poisonous. That's really interesting. They're supposed to be. Now we can just replant the potatoes and let's see. 10, 15, 20, 25. So our profit there was 37 potatoes. So we can sell them, right? But I want to just put time up again. In fact, I'll just keep time on for this purpose. Oh no, I can't because I know what will happen. Let's just do that, 2000. I want to see if this actually works. And we're going to go... Oh, actually, I forgot to say as well, rain also helps the crops. So if you want to create that irrigation that we talked about earlier, rain does that. And so we are going to go settings, reset, and then let's collect these potatoes. Bearing in mind we could have our coder, nope, we've ended up with lots of healthy potatoes. I'm not sure why it's not showing me this, but there's a percentage of potatoes that get blight. I think it's 3%, although that statistic is not working right now. I'd need to do more research on that, but we did this once before as a project, and the kids got, if we just go and look at potatoes, that's because I'm in the wrong game mode. The kids got poisonous potatoes. And it was a percentage of the number of potatoes that they actually got. So then they had to take that into account for their business. And they did it over time on a spreadsheet, and they realised that for a year's worth of crops, they had to lose, I think it was 3% was the final figure of their potatoes. And so, because they come out poisonous, and we don't appear to have any. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. But it was... it's a great way of, and what's that? That's a baked potato. You can cook the food, of course. Carrots are no problem. Carrots, these are the things that you just plant automatically. So again, we're going to go over there and just pop in carrots in the ground. So there's no seeds, there's just the plant itself, and so on. So let's just get our potatoes replanted. planted because I quite like this little farm completed as it is. There we are. And then let's go into game mode 0 again and see what these do. I'm experimenting with you at this point because I don't quite know. Oh, there we go. So we just got more berries. We just get sweet berries which we can cook with. Let's look at sugarcane, because sugarcane is for making cake. And I'm going to leave you to explore all the different foods. But sugarcane... oh, now I'm stuck in the water. Great. Sugarcane can be planted anywhere, like there. But if we now go and get ourselves some bone meal... That's because I'm in the wrong game mode. I can't just give myself bone meal when I'm in that mode. There we are. If I force that to grow... Oh, sorry, that's bamboo, not sugarcane. I wondered why it was planting there. Let's go and get ourselves some sugarcane. Not bamboo. You'll notice that I can't place sugarcane anywhere. I can only plant sugarcane beside water. So what I'm going to do is just grow that using bone meal. And then if I go back to game mode 0, I think somebody's done the... Chipster has done it for me. Fully grown potato crops drop 1 to 5 potatoes, about 3% crop harvesting on average, and have a 2% chance of dropping an additional poisonous potato. Brilliant. Thanks very much, Chipster. That's what we discovered with the kids, so they had to take that into account as part of their agricultural business model, which was fantastic. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the sugarcane.
Here's what I found.
Oh, shush. You'll notice, oh, that one fell in the water, so I'm going to go and get that. And I just get more sugarcane. So you'll notice as I crop this, I get more sugarcane, which I can then plant near water, always near water. And you can use sugarcane to craft sugar, which then allows, if I just go in here and look at sugar, there we are. So there's sugar. You get sugar and you're able to create cake from that. What else did we look at? Oh, mushrooms. No mushroom. There's no mushroom here. But we can't plant mushrooms just anywhere. We can only plant mushrooms in the dark. So we can only plant mushrooms in cave systems. Anywhere outdoors. So there we go. We have to be, I think, 3 within. So Minecraft detects how dark it is and then gives us the ability to do that. So we have to have mushroom sheds that we can grow them. So keep an eye on that. Mushroom is used to make mushroom stew, etc. And cocoa beans. Now let's have a look at cocoa beans. What are we able to do with cocoa beans? So let's head back to our farm. Here's a nice piece of land. And we're not able to plant cocoa beans in there. Are we able to plant cocoa beans on this tree? We're not allowed to plant cocoa beans on this tree, and that's because cocoa beans belong to a very specific tree. So if I go and get myself a jungle sapling, and this is going to be the wrong biome for it, but it doesn't matter, it'll still grow, and we put a jungle sapling at the top and give that bone meal, we end up with a jungle sapling, and it's jungle saplings that can take cocoa beans. And if we give them bone meal, they grow into cocoa beans, and we can then go and crop them as well. And so we can have cocoa beans, which then allow us to make other things as well. So from a farming perspective, have a think about when you're thinking about what it is you're trying to achieve. So I'm thinking, make it obviously farming for a start. So let's just say you're coming from the obviously farming angle and you're thinking, I want to do farming. I need to learn what Minecraft does. Minecraft does crops like potatoes and carrots. It also does seeded crops like wheat and then melons and things. It also does tree-based crops, and it does things that like sugarcane and mushrooms, for example. But you might not be coming at it from a purely agricultural perspective, and we'll do more with animals in a second from animal husbandry perspective. But what if you were doing something with mathematics, and you know you want to achieve something with maths, and I've already showed you. Hey James, great to have you in. Hope you and your loved ones are safe and well. And what if you were coming at it from a maths perspective? You're sitting at home, you're thinking, right, I need to do a maths lesson for later this week, and I need to know that my children understand percentages. And you're thinking, and I really want to do it in Minecraft. You could use coloured wool. I've already showed you how to do that in another stream. You could create some sort of zombie apocalypse narrative and look at the percentage of survivors or something like that. But you might also think, actually, Stephen showed me that stuff with crops. I could do percentages of fields given to one crop. Here's a field with 100 spaces. I want you to plant 30% wheat and 70% potatoes. Off you go, and have the children do that, and they can do that in rows, or they can plant that however it is that they want to do that. And so, yeah, fractions, absolutely, Baramok. You can do fractions and percentages. You can do percentage of loss. So again, going back to that thing I said earlier, and you say, look, you did get 100 crops, you did get 100 potatoes, maybe not even as easy a number as that. You got 122 potatoes this year. But what I'm going to tell you is that due to a drought, you're going to lose next year. You're going to lose 30% of those crops. What is your estimated outcome for next year? And then you can get them to estimate their forecast their percentages, and so on. Ratio. What is the ratio of this entire bumper crop of potatoes to poisonous potatoes, and so on? And so just thinking about how you can engage children in that, go into the bigger picture of, hey, we have a village population of 7,000 people, and all of those people need 3 pieces of wheat to make bread. They need, because actually, let's look at what that looks like. I'm now going to go into a crafting table, and this is where the maths just gets that little bit extra. So we're going to go into a crafting table. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take wheat, which incidentally I don't have. And I don't know, this is where you're going to see, I don't play, I don't play survival mode a lot. So let's see, how do we make bread? Anyone any idea? I can make hay. I can make a hay bale. Make hay while the sun shines, right? I don't know how to make bread. Shall we look that up? Somebody want to maybe show me how to do that? Let's get the audience involved. Somebody go online and look for the recipe for bread in Minecraft. And let's do that together, because I have no idea. I'm probably going to need something else. Do I need water? I probably need water, right? Because I'm thinking real life. I'm going to need wheat. And I'm going to need 3 wheat in a row, Chipster says. Oh, it was as easy as that. Not even any water. How unrealistic is that? Thanks, Chipster. So we're going to need so we've got some bread. So actually that tells us, let's do a little maths with that. / game mode 1. Game mode 0. Now, I'm going to take away, I'm just going to get rid of any wheat that I previously was carrying. Now I need to escape it. There we are. So we have no wheat in our inventory, but I'm going to chop these crops. So I'm just going to chop. So for 5 pieces of land, I get, so I get 6. So for 5 pieces of land, I get 6 pieces of wheat. Let's try that one more time. Let's get seeds. Oh, that's not seeds. That's trees. That's going to be a really odd farm. Where's our seeds? There we are there. Let's get seeds. And then some bone meal. Just make that happen real quick. There we are. Right, let's try that again. Let's see how much wheat we get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. So we got 11. So it was 6. So that was only 5 this time. And so 6, 5, let's just say we have an average of 5 every time. That means that we are effectively, and we know that we need, in order to be able to make bread, we know that we need 3 every time. So let's see how many we get out of there. So let's just put all of these in, and that leaves us 2 extra. So we're allowed so that only gave us 3 pieces of bread. So that was 10 crops of wheat gave us 3 pieces of bread with 2 left over, with 2 wheat left over, which we can't make bread with. So we have to plant again, so we need more seeds, and so on and so on and so on. And so there's a great way of doing the maths there. Have it all done outside as well. Have it done on a spreadsheet, or have it done mentally using a table, and have the children do the maths, knowing that they need to grow this much in order to achieve this much food. I mean, 3 pieces of bread, if we gave 1 to him, and we gave 1 to him and 1 to him, that's only today, and that leaves everyone else unfed. Look, these guys are unfed, and so on. And so suddenly we're looking at the real kind of so you're saying that we start, so Baramok's asking, so you say that we are starting with the learning goal principle and then consider how this could be done in Minecraft. These sessions are brilliant. Thank you very much, Baramok. I'm glad you're enjoying them, as I have learned so much. Yeah, absolutely. And well, this is the thing. Minecraft is not the answer to your teaching problems. And I'm telling you that as a Minecraft educator. So many people come to me and they say, I want to use Minecraft to teach. I'm going to do it this week. And I say, what are you going to do? And they go, I don't know yet. And I say to them, well, how do you know Minecraft's going to work? Like, you could use VR. Or, and if it's tech you desperately want to use, we could use 3D printing or VR or podcasting or animation or filmmaking or, and they go, no, it has to be Minecraft. It has to be Minecraft. And I'm like, well, actually, let's start with what you're trying to achieve. Oh, I'm doing maths. Right, what are you doing in maths? I'm doing fractions. And I'm like, good, now we can go somewhere. Now we know, so be the teacher. Start with what it is you're trying to achieve, and then know the product. And this is another thing where teachers quite often come to me. This is not their fault. I love working with teachers. I support teachers every day of my life. But quite often they're thrown into scenarios where pressure or parental, whether it's administrative pressure or parental pressure or examination pressure, pressure puts them in situations where they're kind of reaching for stuff and they're like, help me out here. And and my advice to them always is, don't stop being the teacher. Let other people be the tech. Even your students, let your students do the Minecraft part. You just be the teacher. What is it we're trying to achieve? Mathematics. What is it in mathematics? Fractions. Great. Let's do farming. That's a good idea. And you know what? If Minecraft doesn't offer a solution, don't squeeze one in. Don't make Minecraft work, because you'll just ruin the whole experience. But in this case, and I happen to love Minecraft as a teaching method, in this particular instance, Minecraft happens to work in a lot of different ways. Yes, Raja, absolutely. Start with what they know and understand the product. And again, I do have teachers that say to me, look, I went to this Minecraft PD. It was fine. It wasn't, I'm never going to have to use it. I just sort of let it. And I disagree with that. I actually say to teachers, you wouldn't do that for any other tool. You wouldn't go to PD and go, you know what, I'm probably never going to use this. My kids will be fine without me. You wouldn't do that. And so understanding, this is why I'm doing these sessions on farming or mechanics or allow deny blocks, or you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to know all of this. But what you do need to know is roughly what the game does. What can it achieve? Even at its most basic, it's made up of blocks, and those blocks are counting systems, or it's a model of the real world, and that real world has rivers and forests and weather conditions. So geography teachers are like, oh, maybe I could use this as a modeling system, and so on. And so have a think about just appreciating what it is the game does and what it can achieve, and then being the teacher and saying, right, as a maths teacher, this is what I want to achieve. And so, yeah, good, I'm glad. Baramok, you're in Wales, I believe. I think you told us that when in one of our first streams. Wales are well ahead of the game, and actually, sadly, not as far ahead as I think they have the capability to be, given that every student in Wales now has an account. This was before the coronavirus. Wales moved very quickly to consolidate Minecraft as a system of learning in their schools, an opportunity, an offering. And I think Wales has the potential, with teachers like yourselves, Baramok, to really move on this quickly and establish that. So congratulations to Wales, definitely one of the faster moving. Ireland is super fast on that front. Wales is super fast on that front. The Swedes, of course, and so on. And so there's pockets out there. South Africa, fantastic use of Minecraft in education down in South Africa. And so I'm going to leave this stream there with just some food for thought for you on farming. Think about farming as not just agriculture in Minecraft, but there's the timings, there's the land numbering systems. Actually, I said we would visit animals again, and I think it's worth doing that. Very briefly before I finish, I just want to go into spawn and just show you what some of the animals are that you can have. So you can have chickens, cows, pigs, sheep. Let's not have wolves or polar bears or ocelots or cats. Parrots, rabbits, what else? Horses. I've got a question actually about rabbits, which I'm going to answer myself. Yeah, we can get horses. Let's get a horse in there. And then we're into other things. But certainly for farming animals, we have chickens and cows and pigs and sheep and rabbits and horses. Rabbits you wouldn't necessarily farm. I'm interested to see though, I've had this question for a while. Oops, that's a horse. Do rabbits eat crops? I wasn't aware that they did, but somebody said to me the other day, you want to watch rabbits, they eat your crops. And I was kind of like, do they? So I'm going to watch these rabbits and see what they... Oh, they did. He did. He went over and he brought these crops. That is fantastic. So now we can introduce more maths, or certainly more is pests. Your crop, we can measure how much of our crops we lose or how much longer it takes us to get to a target crop on the basis that rabbits are introduced. And actually, if we do some coding, let me just bring up C for coding. Let's just call this crop failure. And I need to make sure that you can see that in OBS, because sometimes I switch. No, you can. Okay. So if we do something like crop failure, we could do something like a forever loop. So let's just do a forever loop that says mobs spawn a rabbit at, and we'll go and get a key location. So let's get this crop location, which is right here in the middle. So we're just going to write this down on my board. So let's do 4271 minus 1561. See, this is what I love about Minecraft as well, particularly the fact I've got the freedom to live stream it just now. But when working with kids, this is what happens all the time. Whoops. Now I've ended up with tons of rabbits because I've done a forever loop, and that was my own fault. So I'll have to get rid of all of these in a second, which is fine, but I'll just disengage with the forever. You see how quickly that code worked? That code was like, you want rabbits? You got rabbits. Breeding like rabbits. And so let's just remove at E. Gets rid of everything. There we go. That was / remove space at E is remove entities, and that gets rid of all your rabbits. You want to be careful about doing that though in certain areas though, in case you have entities that are working to do something for you. But in the meantime, let's get these coordinates again. Did I write that down? Yeah, I did. So I love this because when you're playing with stuff like this, it's like ideas. I mean, this is what happens with the kids in my class. They're like, oh, you know what we could do, sir? We could have rabbits as a pest. And I'm just like, brilliant. I never thought of that. And so let's go back in here and do a forever loop. I'm also going to give it a timer because I don't want them looping all the time. I'm going to say every 20 seconds, we're going to spawn a rabbit at... And then I need to go to positions, world positions, and we're going to do, what did we say it was? It was 4271 minus 1561. That was 71, not 91. They'll appear 20 blocks too high and they'll die when they fall. There we go. Right, let's try that. And then what I'll do is I'll do I'll also need to go in, hang on, I'll need to go in here and do X, and that will be agent teleport to player, because I want to hide him. I want to get rid of my agent. So I'm just going to put my agent down in the woods here. There we go. He can stay there, so we can watch this ensue. So every 20 seconds we should end up with, bearing in mind that our crops are growing at a certain rate, and every 20 seconds we should end up with a rabbit. Did I put in world? Yeah, world 42 71 1561. So let's see, maybe I'm just not patient. Maybe 20 seconds hasn't passed yet. Oh, and I think every time I do that, the 20 seconds starts again. I tell you what would solve that is if we swapped those around. So we see the rabbit spawn, then we wait 20 seconds. There we are. So there's the first one. And so we're about doing our business. We're a farmer. We've got our marketplace over here. We're blah, blah, blah. And every so often, a new rabbit will appear. Let's just make sure that happens. A watched kettle never boils, eh? No, a watched pot. I suppose if it was a kettle, oh, there we go. I suppose if it was a kettle, it would boil whether you watched it or not. So, there's our second rabbit. And that's going to become a problem, which is reality. Certainly reality in the UK and Australia, I know. That becomes a problem. And then I'm assuming that's going to go eat some crops eventually. And so on. And so I think there's a third one. Eventually we're going to end up with a problem. And so we have to go out and maybe think about what we do about that. Maybe we deploy a wolf. Let's just make that happen. Here we go. Get him. Go get him. You can't really do a live stream about mobs in Minecraft without some degree of cruelty. There we go. So he's now guarding the farm. I'm going to have to get him back. And I think the only way I can get him back is with a bone. You can get like a skeleton bone, and you can, if I do that, he should, and get close enough to him. Hey, little guy. No, he's not interested at all. No? You want to come with me? Come on. Back to the farm. Good boy. Yes. There we go. It took its time, but it's kind of working. So you get the idea. Anyway, I love all this. Have a think about this. Farming is not just, hey, kids made some crops and they can make some bread and it's a little sort of game feature. It's not just a game feature. It's a mechanic that can be used to create models for food systems in the world, or the problems with food systems in the world, or pests and pesticides and stuff in the world. I mean, we could just, your dog is your pesticide essentially. Mathematics and so on. So have a good think about this stream afterwards. I'm going to leave the stream now. All of our streams are updated immediately to youtube.com/c/immersive minds. Check them out. Please spread the word, because I'm doing this every day, twice a day for a month, and I want as many people worldwide to be able to just tap into these things. They're not great, they're not perfect. We learn together. I make spelling mistakes. I do the coding wrong, but I love that, and we're doing it together. We have so much stuff this month to come as well. You're going to love it. So take care, everyone, and I will see you in 5 hours' time. Have a great day.